7 months ago, I got on a plane and moved to Taiwan, not really knowing what to expect. Now I've got 3 months left, and honestly, a lot has happened. If you're thinking about going on exchange or just curious what it's actually like, I'm going to walk you through everything from rotary rules and school life to host families, the blazers, and things that I wish I knew before coming. So I will be reading from a script on my iPad to make sure that I stay on topic for the video and so I don't miss anything. What are Rotary districts? A Rotary district is a group of Rotary clubs in a geological area. They start as zones, and within those zones, they are districts. There are about 530 to 540 different districts worldwide. About Rotary Youth Exchange. Rotary sends over 8,000 students abroad each year. Students learn a new language, experience a new culture, and get to share their culture with everyone they meet during exchange. A blazer. You'll get a blazer, usually navy blue, but I've also seen light blue, dark green, red, and purple. Sadly, you can't choose the color of your blazer. That is decided by your district. But you can decorate your blazer however you want. Like this. Most of us decorate our blazers by trading pins. Exchange students either make custom pins or get pins from local shops that represent where they are from. For me, I got pins that represent Alaska and some from my figure skating club to trade with the exchange students. People also use safety pins to attach things like keychains to their blazers. I've also seen students pin on their plane tickets to the sleeves or the back of their blazer. Rotary will ask you to wear your Rotary blazer during your travel to your exchange, especially in the airports. It's easier to spot other exchange students so you guys can say hello, trade pins, and if they are going to the same district as you are going to, could even travel together. It's also a great communication starter, and you will probably meet other Rotary members along the way too, which is a great thing to have because you will be able to have a few people you could ask for help if your plane gets canceled or if you miss your flight and you need help getting a new flight or getting onto a new connecting flight. And now rules can vary depending on your district, both at home and abroad. But one thing that stays the same are the 5 Ds. No drinking, no drugs, no driving, no dating, no tattoos or piercings. But these 5 will usually stay the same. Some districts may also modify the Ds. In my district here in Taiwan, we are allowed to get piercings on our face or ears as long as we get permission from our biological parents and we do research on which piercing shop we go to make sure it's sanitary and it's the right choice for us. And then some districts may have a priority rule. My district has this just so we know what comes first. It's Rotary district events, Rotary club events, host family events, and then personal life. The district events can include trips, festivals, cultural activities, or mandatory classes that your district wants you to attend. Rotary Club events are monthly meetings, volunteering, or just any events hosted by your host club. And then for the school, it could be again a trip that your school is hosting, or your school wanting you to do a presentation about your country or your culture to the rest of the school or just your class. And then host families, just anything your host family wants you to do. if it's take you to another city or take you out to a nice restaurant or to a museum. And then personal life is hanging out with friends, or if there's a event that is custom to your culture that you want to do with your friends, or your birth comes last. Then other rules that you may find in some districts is not being allowed to hang out with exchange students for the first months or two. Some districts have this rule to encourage bonding with the host families. And then some districts may have required shirts, hoodies, or a piece of clothing that you have to wear during events. For me, I have a polo shirt that I have to wear to most Rotary District events. And then some other ones could be no talking to the opposite gender during Rotary events. And if you want to, it must be in a public space where people can see you. I've also heard of some other districts having a rule that you're not allowed to hang out with other exchange students from your country. So if you're from America, you're not allowed to hang out with other exchange students from America. If you're from Brazil, you can't hang out with other exchange students from Brazil. And then what happens if you break a rule? It depends on the rule. If you break one of the 5Ds, you will either get a verbal warning or a yellow card. It just depends on how bad you broke the rule. A yellow card is like a strike in a baseball game. If you get 3, then you get sent home. If you get 3 yellow cards, you will not be allowed to leave your house until it's time for you to go to the airport to go home. The same thing happens if you break the law in the country, you get sent home. And then your school experience depends a lot on your country and the type of school you go to. Some schools will treat you like a regular student, have you attend all the classes, do assignments and tests, everything. Others just place you in a classroom and just say, figure something out to do. Right now in my school, the only classes I enjoy attending is art class, PE, and then sometimes English. But personally, I don't see a point in learning English for obvious reasons. Schools will also might be okay with you being on your phone or being on an iPad during class as long as you wear headphones or earbuds and don't disturb class. But some schools may not allow you to have any devices out. And then some schools will be strict. You must stay with your class. If it's a school like in Asia, you have the class number you're with. So then you must stay with that class. If you're in, for example, an American school where each class you have different classmates, then that rule doesn't apply. No wandering on campus is what some more private schools might have. And then if your school has uniforms, most of the schools will require you to wear the uniform every single day. And of course, no skipping classes without permission from your host parents or your Rotary district. And then other schools may just be like, just show up before this time of day, and then you can leave between this and this time, and be like, just don't cause any problems for the students, staff members, or the school in general. Attend what classes you enjoy, and you can wear whatever you want as long as it's appropriate. But again, the school highly just depends on your country and which school you get placed in. And then host families. During Rotary Exchange, you will usually have 3 host families. You'll stay with the first family for 3 months, the second family for 4 months, and the third family for the remainder of your stay. But some districts may have you, after staying with your third family for 2 to 3 months, may have you return back to your first family for the remainder of your stay. You may have to change families early, or will have more than 3 families if your host family has something come up and cannot host you, or you feel uncomfortable or unsafe in the family. And each family will treat you differently. Some families will treat you just like their own child if you were theirs, or some may just treat you like a guest who's staying a few months in their house and not really care about you. And even if they don't ask, you should always clean your bathroom if you have one of your own. Help clean shared spaces. If you share a bathroom, help clean it. If the living room, if it has some pillows around or blankets messed up, you can help tidy that up. Do your own laundry and help with dishes or cooking dinner. Asking for help. When it comes for asking for help, you will have people you can go to. You'll have your counselor both back home and in your host club. They are also sometimes referred as YEOs. You'll have your Rotary Club both back home and your host club. You'll have your host parents, friends, and I would recommend having a trusted adult, rather if it's one of your host parents, a classmate's parents, or if it's one of the other exchange students, host parents, or a teacher. I would just highly recommend finding a trusted adult that if you have problems and you're not sure if you should go to Rotary about it, talking to an adult may help you realize that some issues you could maybe handle yourself and not have to go to Rotary about. No matter how big you think your issue is, I would go ask for help. If you are being bullied at school or just people in general picking on you, I would ask for help. In the beginning of exchange for me, I had one of the exchange students constantly tell me that I don't belong on exchange and that I should just go home just because I've never been to a public school before and because I've been a homeschool student my entire life. It did eventually stop, but looking back on it, I do wish that I would have told someone and would have asked for help, seeing if a Rotary member could get them to stop saying that to me, because it would have helped me a lot mentally in the beginning of the exchange. So just don't stay quiet. And a reminder, your biological parents, your parents back home, will not be able to help you for everything. You might think that, oh, I can just call my mom and she could help me with this. Or I could call my dad and he could help me. But they are so far away from you that they cannot help you with everything. You can tell them about your issues and ask for advice on your problem or ask for advice in general, but they will not be able to help you with everything. And then this next section is for the parents. This one will be done by my parents. I asked them to make a short video, so it's a parent to parent talk.
Hi, I'm Mandy.
Hi, I'm Warren.
And we are Elmira's parents. Elmira is on exchange in Taiwan this year. Sending your kiddo out on exchange isn't always easy. There are things that you're going to want to be able to help them with that you can't help them with. One of the things that we also had to do before she went on exchange was all of the paperwork, the visa paperwork, the Rotary paperwork, all of the forms, things like that. And some of that gets a little complicated when you're not exactly sure what needs to be put where. Cost is also something that families have to be able to handle or fundraise for before their kiddo leaves. And so making sure that you have that all squared away with your Rotary group is great. Things to keep in mind when you're doing that is you might also need extra fees for things like Chinese class or language classes, dance classes, stuff like that they might not normally do in your area.
As a parent, you hope that the host families treat your kiddo as one of their own, include them in what they normally do for holidays, their exchange families, traditions, etc., and allow your student to teach them all about their traditions and holidays as well.
For us, it's been a great experience. Myra's really enjoyed her time over in Taiwan, and we hope your kiddo enjoys wherever they go.
Okay, and then here's just some random things that I've come across with on my exchange that you may or may not come across with as well. Extra costs, like extra expenses. You may have to pay for things that you think you might not have to pay for. So for me, I have to pay for my phone bill. I also have to pay for my public transportation. And if I go to the doctor, I have to pay for the medication that the doctor prescribes me if needed. And some host families may offer to pay for your public transportation. Some may not. This also depends on the like city or town that you're in, if they have public transportation or if they don't. Something else that I would check before you go on exchange is if your phone is able to take a eSIM. Some newer phones are only able to take digital SIM cards, also known as eSIMs. So I don't know about Android, but for Apple phones, if you have anything over the iPhone 15, it is not able to take a physical SIM card. It can only take the digital version of it. And so what I did is I upgraded my phone to the 16 Pro about a month or two before I left for Taiwan. And then when I came to Taiwan and went to get a SIM card for my phone, because my new phone was not paid off, I could not get my phone to take a Taiwan SIM card. So I had to buy a secondhand phone and use it for my entire stay here. So I would definitely look out for that much. Before you leave, you could call your phone company or have your parents call them and ask if your phone is able to take a digital SIM card if it does not have the slot on the side of the phone to take the physical one. I would also recommend bringing a couple $100 in cash just in case for emergencies. So for me, I brought probably 300 USD with me in cash. All of that I spent on this secondhand phone because it was an emergency. So I would recommend bringing some extra cash. You will have your monthly allowance, which is usually around 100 USD, just like in that country's currency that you're going to. But I would try to save your monthly allowance as much as you can. And then also talk to your parents about getting a credit card either in your name or in one of their names to use while you're on exchange. And then, depending on your parents or if you have one, I would ask them to maybe see if you can get a debit card connected to your bank account so you can use your money to buy gifts for your friends and family without having to spend any of their money with the credit card or needing to spend your monthly allowance on gifts all the time. Well, that's it for this video. If you have any questions, or if I missed something, if you want more detail on one of the topics, or there's something else you want me to talk about exchange, you can just comment it and I will either respond to your comment or make a short video about the topic.